Hey everyone, in tonight's free video, I just want to quickly go over a trade and talk about why fibs work and how well they work. And I just want to talk about one trade that we had yesterday, and it was on a bigger time frame. It was on a 120-minute chart, but we can look at it on a 60. In fact, you know what? Let's just look at it the 120. So when we look at the 120-minute chart here, we had a sell signal up in here, right here, based on rules. So you can see that I'll draw my fib, and from the high down to this low here, you see we rallied up into the 618 retracement. Now, we don't just sell 618 retracements, okay? So don't look at this video and all of a sudden be like, oh yeah, I'm just going to start selling 618 retracements. No. What we do is we look for very specific things at these specific levels for reasons to sell, okay, or buy. So we had a 618 that met with the requirements that we look for. We sold them. We had our very specific stops, and we had our very specific targets. One of the things you'll notice, though, is the power of fibs, and that's kind of what I want to briefly talk about in this video, is number one, you can see that fibs are a great way to find predictive levels of where the markets are going. The great thing about this trade is we knew we were getting short this thing before it even happened. When it was sitting like this, we said if the market rallies to the 1104 level, we know we're getting short, we know where we're placing our stops, we know where we're placing our targets. Why? Because that's part of our trading plan. That's what we do here. We don't just randomly get into trades based on what we feel like doing, but really what we see. You know, one of the most important things I talk about is trade what you see, not what you think. So we saw this, and we had the anticipation that if the market gets to this level, we're going to place a limit sell here with our predetermined protective stops, and then we have profit targets. And once the market got into those levels, we sold them. And what you'll see here is I'll zoom in a little bit and kind of pull this in. You can see that in the overnight session, after getting short, we sold off a little bit and then a little bit of a pop. So we got the first target right around here. Then we got the little bit of a pop. And again, we are all sleeping when most of this happened, so our stops were pretty static, unless you have it trailing down to a specific level, like an automatic trail. And then it pops back up, and then you wake up in the morning, and it's essentially right around here. And we looked at this, and we said, all right, if the market can really get going, and this is right to prior to market, we're kind of breaking through, we had an expectation. If the market breaks below and closes below this low, where do we expect it to go? And you can see right here, and we talk about this all the time, if the market breaks below the level, the minimum we expect is a move to where? The 1272 extension. So we went right to that 1272 extension, and then we popped up. So again, notice the relevance of fibs there. Notice the relevance of how they present themselves in the market, no matter what the market is you're looking at. One other thing I wanted to take a look at is let's go back to the weekly. So I want to do a follow-up to Google. Okay. Now Google today, even though the market rallied significantly, Google didn't really do that much. It's sold off this week, and this is obviously a weekly chart, but it came right back down into these levels. Now, for me to have the expectation of this thing going to the 1272 extension, it's the same thing on the S&P. If this thing's going to get to the 1272 extension, I need to see this thing close below the low of this candle. So you can see so far it has not happened. The low here is 522.46. It's trading at what's the close of it today? 526.43. So it got below it today intraday, but it was unable to close. Okay? So really, if this thing is going to get going, if it's going to break down and go lower, it needs to close below this low. And that was a terrible line. But that's what it needs to do. So hope that helps. If you guys have questions, feel free to ask. We'll see you guys Sunday's video, and we'll see you guys at the next video update.